Welcome to Amateur Redneck Workshop. I'm Harold, and I imagine it's not any secret that I've been having a lot of trouble making really good cuts with my plasma cutter table there. This is the first time I've ever done any plasma cutting or anything, so I've got an awful lot to learn, and I've got a little help. Bob over at Making Stuff, he's helped me some, and that's got me off the top center and into moving anyway. And I discovered the last time I was messing with it that I got water in the air. And I was wondering why my consumables didn't last very long. I could make a few cuts, and the tip would be all messed up, the electrode would be all bubbled or something, and I couldn't figure out what was going on there. And so the other day I bought that cabinet, and I put the impact tool on the airline to try and tighten up one of those rib nuts that I had gotten a little bit too loose. And when I did, water just sprayed out of that out of that impact tool like it was a water hose. And then I realized what was knocking out all my consumables. Of course, by then I didn't have anything to speak of left. And so put me back to waiting on the shipment on that slow boat from the unmentionable place. And anyway, I figured, well, what I needed is an air dryer, and my airline is small and leaky and all that sort of thing. So I ordered a desiccant dryer and went down and bought me a bunch of PVC pipe and glue all the stuff together and all that sort of thing. Now, I don't show you in the video gluing any of the pipe together because I didn't even think about making a video of that part, and besides, what the heck, who wants to see a guy gluing pipe fittings together? Anyway, I know somebody will say, oh, you shouldn't have made it out of PVC, the thing's going to explode. But I looked into the working pressure. The biggest diameter I have is 1 inch, and the working pressure on that's good 300 pounds, and my compressor can't get over about 125, so I think I'm pretty safe there. And the maximum pressure on it's way up above that. This is schedule 40 PVC, and if you go down to the next size, 3/4 inch that I use, well, the maximum working pressure goes up instead of down, as the diameter decreases. So I'm not worried that it's going to blow up, and so don't tell me that. Alright, so anyway, that's what we're going to do a video on here, is me hooking up hoses and stuff, and hooking up the desiccant dryer. And the main activity is going to be making a manifold to put a bunch of little hose fittings on, so that I can have hoses dedicated to one thing or another. And if I use the hose reel, that's like 50 foot of hose, and you get a lot of pressure dropping 50 feet. So if I can use a shorter hose, I can hook it onto one of the other outlets that I put on this manifold, and it'll work better for me, I think. Alright, and this is the day before Thanksgiving, so I hope all you guys have a good Thanksgiving and lots of turkey, and watch all the ball games you can stand, and drive safe and celebrate responsibly. Okay, let's get on with the video. Alright, so I'm going to make an air manifold out of this thing, and I suppose I'll do some or all the work right here on the drill press. I don't know if it's got enough stroke to really drill all the way down inside of the thing or not, but we'll find that out when we get to it. Anyway, I've got it marked here for three threaded holes, and they're going to be 1/4 inch pipe threads, and we're going to do, like I say, the whole job right here in the drill press, and it ought to be wonderful. So let's get on it. No matter if I'm dead on the marks or not, because they're just marks that I picked out a distance apart, and I put them there. and I think everything will fit together like that. Probably the manifold's a little too big, but I'm going to put one hole here, and it's going to go all the way down to here. I'm going to cut it off at this spot, so all of these guys will have access to the air that comes in the end here. Alright, so next step is to change bits and get on the move to start. I got some of it close. Okay, I set the collar on here. I set the bit down on the surface of the metal, lined up 0 there, and then moved it around until it read 3/4 of an inch. So this way it won't go all the way through the metal. I'll show you what it looks like down at the vise. Alright, this is where the metal meets the metal. And you can see it doesn't go all the way down. It gets close, but not all the way. So I think that's plenty good enough for me. They're all drilled in, but they're not drilled through. So the next bit is going to be a 7/16. Alright, this is a 7/16 that I got from our buddy in Canada, namely Everett. And I'm going to have to drop the table down a little bit because that's as pulled up as this little booger can go. Okay, so give me a second. Okay, this is a 7/16 bit sent to us from Canada by Everett, and we're going to use it. I think I've got it lubed up a little bit there. And I set the collar on the thing so it'll only go in 3/4 of an inch into this 1-inch material. So the way we there we are, 3 holes, 3/4 inch deep, 7/16 diameter. Now that tap is too big for every tap handle that I own, so I'm going to have to work it out here. Just hold on. The good news is that I probably can't mess up enough here to get it crooked. It's so big and it sets so nicely into the hole. So we're going to use this guy right here to tighten it down and make our wonderful thread, which we hope will be just right. Got a hole. Alright, I will compare the drill to the sides of this thing to be sure they're straight, and then I'll figure out about where the thing's going to set, and we'll start drilling through it. Of course, I'll have to, like I say, I'm going to have to let the table down, but before we get that far along, I'll want to make sure that this thing's in there reasonably straight. And it looks reasonably straight looking through this way and this way. So we'll crank the table down. Alright, we're to the second hole. We're ready to do the third hole. So away we go. Same thing with the big bit, so probably not much to see there. Hopefully that's started into there straight, and when it goes down it'll still be straight. I'm not absolutely certain about that one right there on the bottom. He may or may not be perfectly straight. He looked to me like it had a tiny bit of lean, but it may seal anyway. We'll see what we'll see. Alright, I'm going to run the tap. No use showing you that. So now we need to square off the end. I guess I should have done that first, but at least sometimes it's better than never. I'll try 5,000 to climb it and see what we get. Okay, so now the game is to mark this guy a 1/4 inch from every direction on the corners. And I guess I'm going to have to put my glasses on because I can't read those little lines for nothing. Alright, so that's about a 1/4 inch. But I've got said, I guess I was reading it better than I thought. Alright. Alright, so I got it marked on all the corners, and we will, now we got all the corners marked, we'll drill holes in it to use to mount it to a board or whatever. With this drill press, any place on it is reachable just by swiveling and turning. So I really don't need any fancy hold down devices, but one that Mr. Pete made, I forget what it's called, it hooks on the one side of the table and slides around everywhere. I think that's such a neat idea. I want to make one whether I need it or not, and that's probably on next year's list. Keeping the camera pointed in the right direction is always the challenge, more so than lining up the spots you want to drill. Okay, we're drilled. All I got to do now is clean it up and screw all the fittings in it, and it'll be a completed manifold. Well, actually it's a completed manifold now, but it'll be a usable manifold once I get all the fittings. Alright, so we got it cleaned up more or less, and we're going to put these little fittings on it. And they've got some crud on them there that I guess is supposed to be a thread sealer, but somehow I don't have overly large amounts of confidence in that. It may be wonderful stuff, I don't know, but I'm going to go ahead and put Teflon on it anyway. We'll see. It's just one of those things that happens when you're an old geezer, you know. Well, there we are. The The little booger's finished and the fittings are screwed in, and my holes are tapped just as crooked as any that I've ever tapped by hand. It's the last time I'll start a tap by hand, I can tell you that. Well, now we've got to mount the stupid things and hook it all up to air and see if it's at least leak tight, you know. I mean, we can hope for that. But one thing's for sure, it's not Randy Richard Wright. Alright, so now then I've got the thing hung up there. You can see where it comes out the end of the pipe and goes around that reel. And I've got all these genuine certified redneck clamps holding everything onto the ceiling. Let me go show you the rest of them. First, there's my manifold screwed down up there to the 2x6, and it goes around and down and into that white plastic pipe, which is behind the hose reel there. Alright, and the white plastic pipe proceeds down, running at a downhill angle all the way around and then down the wall right down to that desiccant filter, which we're going to fill right now. And then we're going to turn on the compressor and see how many air leaks I've got, or we'll see if this thing blows up. There's a drain valve down there on the bottom of the line. Okay? Alright, I've got two little blue bags of desiccant, and when it's blue it's supposed to be dry, and they'll turn pink when they get wet. So I don't know how many little bags it'll take to fill this guy up here, but I suspect it's 2, or they wouldn't have given me 2. But who knows, maybe one of the bags is an extra. Look at that. One of the bags is an extra. Let me see if I can pack it down and get the rest of them in there. I'll bring you guys back when I've got it screwed on over there. Alright, it's full of desiccant, and I'm going to go ahead and crank everything up and then let you guys rest while the pressure comes up, and then we'll see what we can see. Okay, I haven't detected any air leaks. Not there, or that joint right over there, or in fact any place. So I'm sure there's one down on the air compressor. That looks pretty good so far. Now we just got one little problem. I'm short 2 pieces of hose. I need a piece about 15 feet to run from that manifold down to that plasma cutter, and a little 3-footer to run from the manifold over to that the reel. So anyway, it's together, it's not leaking, and it didn't explode. So I think it turned out a success, even if my job of tapping the holes for the fittings wasn't all that good. Well, it seems like Boudreaux's father, his name's Boudreaux Sr., he lived down there in Plaquemine Parish, Louisiana, and he was a Baptist, and practically all his neighbors were Catholic, you know, and every Friday he'd get out there and he'd barbecue stuff, you know, on his grill, you know, and the delicious aroma off that just drive his neighbors crazy, you know. And so they went down and talked to the priest, see if he couldn't do something about, you know, about the barbecuing on Friday and such. And so the priest went down to see Boudreaux, and he talked to him a while, and he says, Boudreaux, he says, why did you ever think about converting to be a Catholic? Boudreaux said, well, all right. He said, I'll give it a try. And so he went to some classes, you know, and done a lot of studying and everything, and attended Mass. So the priest come along, and he got Boudreaux in there, and he sprinkled him with some holy water, and he says, you was born a Baptist and you was raised a Baptist, but now you're a Catholic. And everybody went away just happy as they could be, all the way up till Friday afternoon, and here comes Bubba with the barbecue. He's just barbecuing away out in his backyard. He walked up to the barbecue pit there, and he says, got out some water, and he says, You was born a deer and you was raised a deer, but now you're a fish. Well, that's all, folks. Y'all try to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Leave a comment if you got something to say. And above all, remember, keep on keeping on. Bye now.